Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, in this live stream, I'm gonna really open things up. Open things up. I may make things that may be random, but I might have an underlying point. But no, this is one that is planned out. And I don't want to sit on putting it off and putting it off more and more and more. The other things I just throw along with the structured things, but this is not one of those things. So that's why I'm here talking about it. By the way, boundaries make you free. Setting those boundaries, setting those goals, making yourself feel more comfortable because you have less to do it. That overburden, and that exhaustion and the stress of having to do that. When you make a structure out of it, like it's a reasonable fluid structure, like for instance, maybe a couple weeks down the road, this is when I will do this instead of, oh, I have to do it now. So I want to talk about something so huge, and I really want to take all the time. So, if you do come on, you just put this here. And I have several things in my mind to do that I ought to do that I am not doing. But those things, I throw them along with the structure things. So, anyway, enough said about me in that sense. Northern Taurus, wonderful for getting in touch with your breath, the body. What's going on? Just take a couple moments with me, too. Breathe. Okay, so the first idea, concept, vision, potential novel. A lot of these have come from my dreams. So there might, I don't know, maybe one will be about, and actually, yeah, I ought to, okay, I'll just say it. I mean, there was one about Frozen 2 and then being in those floaty things going north and sitting in a cave. And then see myself in the town square with the sun on the clouds look like how it would be in the sign of Sagittarius. And of course, I had that dream the night of December the 18th into December the 19th. So it was at the end of Sagittarius season. That was the day after the 19th. I discovered Doorman on those films. So anyway, um, a lot of these have been from dreams. So the first one, and there's several others, but I think that these are the most significant ones, was the novel Viernium. And rather than making a whole bunch of live streams, I decided to just throw it all in one thing to save myself the work, all those things. So, Viernium. What is Viernium? I have multiple shorts on this. I don't have a short for something else, though. Let me just jot it down here. So that I have it to look at later on. Okay. So, just putting this just on a generic thing here. 24, okay. That looks good. Okay. Viernium. What is it? It is none other than a pipe plant or a monster made out of, you guessed it, pipes that are black. They're very, very black. And this plant, this thing, would come out of the ground underneath, and it has a sort of history to it where, oh, I don't know, somebody conducted it, put a chemical or something in of a, magic sort of thing. I haven't worked out all of the details, but it went to the pipes and it reacted and it made it transform into different shapes and different things. So, in this vast countryside, it's flat as a pancake. So, imagine you're in the countryside, it's flat as a pancake. And up above is clear sky. Clear blue, um, just beautiful skies up above you. And you would happen to be one of three children that were not family, they were just friends. I think that um, Malcolm and Alice are two. I forgot the other one that I came up with, but okay, David. We'll just create one up. So they were three children living in this small town, village like town, and they woke up on Friday morning. It was, I would say, like the middle of September. No, no, actually, it was the middle of March. Let's just say the middle of March. They woke up on Friday morning because they all were having a sleepover together, and there, and it was at um, Alice's house. The mom came in and was like, "Get up, get up! You have to go to school. You have to get your shoes on." Da 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 da. All those things. So they do that. They see how freeing it is. We can just throw everything together. So not imposing my shoes on, but anyway, they would go to school and they would go their separate ways, have their own schedules because they were all in middle school. Mm, seventh, eighth grade. I'd say they were all in eighth grade. Let's just say eighth grade. So they were all in eighth grade. And one of them had, I think, design teacher, another had an art teacher, uh, and another had, oh, I don't know. Um, just one of them was like science, chemistry, maybe one would be art, and the other would be a story, like a English composition sort of class. So let's just say Alice had the art class. Um, Malcolm would have the chemistry, um, science class, uh, technology. It's either chemistry or technology, or something like that. And then the other one, which would be David, would have the composition. So they were all asked over the weekend to have their assignments, in which it would all tie together because it would all resonate with this thing that they would encounter. So one of them was given an art assignment to draw something, like draw a something like a creature that did not exist and like a monster that didn't exist. That was the assignment, and this, uh, the art teacher was very um, professional, very serious. Like I'm, very Saturnian. If follow astrology, Saturn, very, that's the planet of responsibility. Really, the goals that you need to accomplish, taking things seriously. Um, what is my purpose? Am I delivering on my promise? All of these things. And also how I'm managing my time as well. Um, so they were all given these assignments, and they went their separate ways, and Malcolm that weekend would go to his grandma's house that weekend. And so went there over the weekend on um, Friday, in the afternoon on Friday, living locally in town. And then, his grandma might have been like, go upstairs, check out the attic. I have a lot of, neat things in there. You might. So he would go up in the attic only to discover that Alice and David, his two best friends, were there. And they didn't know why they were there. When he asked them, I was like, I don't know. I was just, and without being too black and white about it, uh, one of them might have been doing chores, the other might have been doing um, homework. Just something where it's not so black and white, like Dharma Man films, which do have a black and white element to them. Um, and the lessons, are repeated in certain films. I don't think that you need more than one film to prove the same lesson. I think that they should be more realistic and complex at the same time. and more detailed and more um, gray, that kind of thing. But so one was doing homework, another was doing chores or something, and then they would end up in this place. They would converse, they would question, they would have a conversation for a little bit. And then um, all of a sudden, um, because interestingly enough, the attic had a doorway with a stairway, let's just say, and this might change, and then a guy, a lord, would come up the stairway, open the door, and this is just kind of off the cuff right now, which he would then oversee on his flying creature move between realms. And I'll get to that. But he would be up there, he would see what would be going on from afar, then he would go off somewhere else, get information, come back, and then meet up with them. So this guy came in and basically got right to the point. Are you all are here because you need to accomplish this. You all need to achieve this. You all have been chosen for this mission to destroy this pipe monster, this Bjornia. And he gave them enough explanation, but not so much. Then open this portal with white, and then they basically, and if it was a movie, some music would be playing, similar to in A Wrinkle in Time, before they would go into these different frequencies, and they would go off to another planet. If you've ever seen the newer version of Wrinkle in Time, which has Oprah Winfrey in it, and um, didn't Reese Witherspoon, I think her name is. Then when they left that Uriel planet, the flowering, beautiful, bright, vibrant planet with those magical flower creatures, leaving that planet and going to Camazotz, or then going to the Happy Medium. In the original movie, it was on the same planet. Then the new one is like another place. But so that music at that point would probably be the music that would be played for all of them going through, dropping down into this portal. They would all land down on the ground, wake up, discover themselves in this place that would be this rural land. And the sky would be beautiful. It would be flat as a pancake. What's going on? Where am I at? Some other place, some other dimension. And they kind of regrouped, got their bearings, and okay, like apparently we've been sent here to destroy something or another, and found this book which we give potential, we give kind of cryptic, not totally clear, clues as to a map as to what to do, this and that. We give clues and little sayings that they would have to decipher, probably. And then they discovered this hut. Not Malika's hut, which I have a song about that. You'll find the image of it, which is South Node Sagittarius song. Not that hut, but it's this little, I wouldn't call it a hut. I would call it like a little shop, store in the middle of nowhere. They would knock on the door. This guy would eventually open the door and be kind of with wondering eyes, a wondering face. They would introduce themselves, and then something would click on for him. They'd come in, they'd get tea, coffee, and they would talk about why they were there, what they'd have to do with not much to say. Just we have this book, we were told this and this, and then he would see the book and um, all these types of things would happen. Then he would explain just this monster and the history behind it. If it was in a movie, then it would certainly show a flashback. Like when someone's telling a story, you see the action of things happening, although it would not be in the preface, then it would come back. I really, really like it in movies when they do that, when someone's telling a story and then, you see it, you see something just of the past that go on, especially uh, prologues and prefaces before the credits and before the main thing starts, like Frozen 2. That's something, and also something that starts out as so normal and then it just twists and becomes like just this big thing happened that just is so twisted and I think something goes so wrong. Um, all those types of things are fascinating and intriguing and maybe compelling, who knows. But so this place that they would be in has all these technical gadgets, all these technical buttons and controls and things. And he said, "Oh, don't mess around." No. They'd actually do it intently. And so this guy would be with them, support them up to a certain point. So getting to the technical things of it, and they would kind of get themselves together and know what to do, and then he would press a certain control and button, and then this creature would appear. But not only that, but there has to be certain conditions where it can appear. Just like for bacteria, things have to have enough moisture for it. So with this thing, which forms and transforms into different shapes. So there's the Eiffel Tower or the letter A. There is these different boxes, a circle, and then this triangle. Those are the three different shapes. More who knows? But but it has this transformative ability to it. Now, the sky would be dark, would be very, very black with just very black, not pitch black, but just a little bit of light, but mostly dark black clouds with white kind of, but no sun, nothing. And it would be totally, deathly silent. There would be no sound because any big sound, lightning, thunder would kill it. And it would start out, the transformation would start out with a big storm. And then the clouds would come together and it would be totally quiet. and one of them would come out and like, I don't see anything. And then um, hearing a little small voice, little pitchy sort of voice. Um, let's just say Malcolm would do this. He would look down and see the small Eiffel Tower. I should probably I have like a it would look like the Eiffel Tower. So it would be so tiny. Oh, that's nothing. And just walk away. And then when he started going back to this shack and he walked down a little bit, he heard this voice and felt this presence. Looked around, saw this huge, ginormous, life size. It was huge. It was way larger than him. Eiffel Tower with thick, dark um, pipes to it with a really, really creepy voice, eyes, mouth, um, all those things. And the thing about it is, it wants to make more of itself, multiply, and turn people and things into Reunium, into more, um, into it wants to transform them into this. So that's what would happen, and basically the whole storyline happens where they would be in this dark country where this would happen, and then form into several shapes, and then the guy would be uh, taken by this thing and transformed into um, another one of the reunion. Like I remember seeing, Nibiru, Scooby Doo. I was watching Scooby Doo series, Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, and Mr. E, Mystery, get it? At the very end, it's on Netflix, by the way, you can see it, hopefully. That is, it's been a while since I've looked back at that. I missed that. Maybe I'll look at that again. Who knows? But so in this scene, this Mr. E got, um, you know, taken in by um, this Nibiru, who was in this crystal sarcophagus thing, and then became this green monster, which wanted to, take over the Earth and other planets and things like that. All those things. And then Mystery would get transformed, just the way that this guy, whose name was um, Steve, would get transformed. And so then, um, then at the very end of the story, it's almost as if I think of, and it's really similar. The end of this is really similar to Moana, and the monster that got transformed from this island green maiden birthing because Maui stole something, which then just destroyed everything with his book, and then he tried to fight this monster, and he didn't succeed, and he got knocked off, and the hook disappeared, and the whole story Moana. But Moana faced went into the darkness, faced this thing, and walked up and said this phrase, which was really coming from a loving place of just giving this love healing onto this. And so then it transformed, then it got back to it was almost as like I was watching the Book of Life, and it was a similar thing where um Joaquin, I believe, the main character was, who wanted to be a musician, who wanted to play guitar. It was so fascinating. His dream was to be a musician, which was rejected and looked down upon by his family because of the tradition of his family bullfighting, which he did not want to do, like Ferdinand. The story of Ferdinand wanting to sit in this field of flowers and nature and whatnot, wanting to, be, confronted in this, whole Greek bullfighting. Well, anyway, once they finally had to, earn back life by, fighting every bull that'll, past family members fought, probably all transformed into this one big thing, maybe. Hopefully, I think that I'm right about this. Who knows? Spoilers. Spoiler alert for people who have not seen the Book of Life, which really, really is a wonderful example, a great example of the Day of the Dead, De los Muertos. Um, so, which was Day of the Dead, where people celebrated their, past family that, passed down. Maybe someday I'll go to Mexico during that time and see it. End of October, early November. Um, their version of Halloween, and of course, the Sun's in Scorpio, which is all about death and all those types of things. But so he fought this big thing not by fighting with weapons and all those things, but by pulling out his guitar, using that as his strength and singing a song to where it would just melt and make this creature vanish and dissolve, and then everything worked out well. In the end, after this thing on the earth, and life would then, in the town be destroyed. But so that was kind of the same thing with this, the resolving of the story, where it would not become a monster. It would just dissolve, disappear, and then everything would return back, and then cities and villages would appear like they were before, after this has been done, and um, would just be the ending of the story. They would go back and know what to write their what to what they would do, and then they present it to their class, and da 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 da. And in the second movie, kind of like Frozen 2, delving into the past to find the answers would be just more the formation of this um, person who birthed it in the first place, and that that whole story, understanding the truth. And there is a animation film about, I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it's this silent film where this man would, where the books would fly. Um, like it's an animation film. I have to see. Flying books short film. Let's see what comes up on a YouTube. Oh, okay. The Fantastic Flying Books. So if you've seen that movie, that short film, and I'm just clicking on it now. This short film, in one scene, when he would end up in this land, his house would be, in this, kind of, just seeing here, in this kind of hurricane, and then the place where he would end up would be similar to the place where these kids again would end up in this other realm, which would not be the underworld, by the way, as a book of mythology, where it would be these big towers, in this town way before, this thing happened. It would be, in the sky would be gray, and, and this king who is known as the Lion King. And so many things happening with that. So that's really the image that comes into play. So thank goodness I was able to find that movie. Now, this will continue. I want to talk about the next story, which takes place in none other than Arizona. In none other than Arizona. This would be really futuristic Arizona. Like, really, like, if you've ever seen Time Machine, the movie Time Machine, where he would go way, 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 way further in time to this place. Then that's what it would basically be like in this place in Arizona, where this guy would have this technology of being on jetpack. And so, there would be this place and this, beautiful, reminds me of something else, which is really wonderful too. It's quite beloved if you think about um, flying books. Let me see here. I had this other thing in my mind that I forgot now. Forget it now. Yeah, I was gonna watch something, look something up. I had it in my mind and then I just forgot it. Um, um, just as well. I have so many things going on here. Let me see if I have all this. Oh yeah, and I will need that. Trying to. So this was in Arizona. All of a sudden, this guy would be on. Oh, I remember what I was going to do. Okay, now that came to mind. Okay, so this is live time now. Let me see. Okay, so I'll put that there for future. So you will be on this hillside, and then the strangest, most horrific, ear-shattering sound would be heard. It would be like a howl, it would be a bark, it would be a mooing, it would be a beastly hyena scream that he would hear. It's just, I can't describe it exactly. And then it would eventually be this cow that was haunted by this sort of virus, and this was the one that survived at this time. And so that whole storyline would be there, where it would be like trying to heal this cow with really glossy eyes in this cave as well. This deep cave, really, really underground. Another dream, which was this really, really deep um, basement in this big house, huge house. For this basement would just go on and on with darkness, and just um, and I was very into houses and big houses and touring them and discovering. I was very into house tours and things of that nature. I was just in awe of just I had this dream of being in a mansion. I looked at this one house which was in Arizona. It wasn't like a tall house. It stretched over a huge, vast area, and also a cabin on wheels as well. Um, so I mean, anyway, that would be there. That's that, and then the other thing. There's a couple other missed things. So you would be on the island of Sodor, and you would be seeing this wall of mist, and something lies on the other side, like it's another realm, and you would be hesitant. It's a Thomas and Friends episode. And I think that stemmed from the episode Bright and Bold. I think it was something Brave and Bold, where Thomas went into this cave, which Bill and Ben thought would was should really, really watch those episodes again. It has been quite a while. I miss those. I really miss those, but things have been transformed with it. But so we go in this cave. Apparently, there would be workers that would be um, working on the mining and in this cave, just fixing the lights, because you would see a bright light, like, oh, you know, Thomas thought, oh, this is a ghost puffing forward. Yeah. But then there was still the cliff edge, the mist on the cliff at the by the sea, which would would go on forever, and you would get lost in it. You'd never come out because of. And Thomas and Friends really is, full disclosure, great metaphor for life and childhood, children as well, using metaphor of engines as people and as children, and the authority figure, Sir Topham Hatt. So coming out of it, and then that whole storyline. So that's that. The next thing would be there's actually a couple other things would be with smoke and things having to do with mist, and I have several shorts about this, short videos. It would be this: all of a sudden you were in this town, which would look like the town in a series of unfortunate events. So kind of the wonky sort of time period, which is new but old at the same time. And you'd be in this town, and then all of a sudden you would see this cloud of smoke, white smoke, and then this car would appear. This thing would appear, and it would be this, like a taxi cab, and then it would just produce smoke. Now that's a vision. And it would be so stiff, and that's the word, my word for strong, anyways, intense. Uh, you know, really pronounced and would just be really intense. You couldn't handle it. Now that's something else. Now the other thing was where, when you're dreaming, um, and recommendation, keep a dream journal to where you can, write down journal about your dreams, but you don't have to, you usually lasting a minute. And I also have a dream of you're in space and you're walking on a rainbow, which was another uh, little thing. But anyway, I don't think that there's much to that really. But anyway, so you would see this vision, that vision, and then another um, vision. The VR is 2 months. But so anyway, so the first thing it would be Halloween, and I imagine this woman would get a knock at the door. This man would be carrying these objects, basically saying you have the responsibility of keeping these, looking after them, don't throw them around. They have some sort of magic thing about them. Now, these are ideas for potential novels, by the way. I just want to be clear about that. These are potential novels that I would probably come up with right this now. But so just not believing in these things, she would probably throw them around the house. And then the next thing would be us being a teacher with everything turned black and white. And then the next thing would be this sort of roller coaster with really orange clouds. And I think that stemmed from watching the movie Legend of the Never Beast, which was a Tinkerbell film that was made, the last one that was made, about this comet that would come every 1,000 years, and it would awaken this creature, which then it would build these rock towers, which would get triggered by lightning. And then he would collect the lightning. And it's just this, sort of job that he would do. And then there would be clouds of green. And so these were clouds of orange. So anyway, those are just some rough things. And, the final little potential novel story would be something about this. And I had this dream in 2016 about being at my grandparents' house, and then in the middle of the night, maybe getting up, hearing a sound, and then walking along, and then just finding this huge room, which would be, it would be rectangular, it would be elongated. And then apparently, this, this sort of woman would come in, kind of just mysteriously come in, would go into the house and create the separate hallway and room. And so basically, there's that whole storyline which, is another one unto itself. But so I thought that I would come on, talk about all of these things, and, get all of these things out because these are certainly things that I just wanted to talk about. And so thank you for tuning in. And bye for now.